And then audio, you said you're good? All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1, record. 1, 2,
Okay.
3. Okay.
Oh, look at that. On the job. Look at this. When we I feel like we're at a away game right now.
An away game?
Yeah, well, it's like an away/home game because as you can see, I got the OG Proficient fan shirt strictly because it felt mad OG on the fact that we're coming back to where we first did our first recording.
It's very true.
I had to pack up everything.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, as I'm packing this up on the way over, I go, man, I'm like, I don't know about all this, man. Maybe I should just call him and say, we'll just Skype. Because I thought I had to. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to set this all up again.
We're Rona free and we're ready to go.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's a good way to be able to get together real quick. And I mean, we are 6 feet away. And
let's do it.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Proficient Fans. My name is CB and with me is
Clay Haggard.
Why did you give your last name?
It's weird now. Now you're conscious of it. It only took 85 episodes, but now you're like, oh man, yeah, he does always do that, huh? Because I think you've always said my name is CB. I don't think you've ever said my name is CB Watkins.
Like fucking Prince, motherfucker.
I guess so. I mean, CB is a cool, unique name. I think you could get away with that. They could think it's your initials. Chalupa Batman.
It's not. Oh man, so you've been in Michigan for the past few days. How's it been?
It's been good, man. It's been good to see friends. I got to go disc with Ange the other day. It was nice to go outside, throw the disc. Golfed 1 under on 18 because I'm a man and I'm 40. Not quite. I have the intelligence and maturity of a 40-year-old, but I'm in a young 29-man-year-old's body.
Right. You feel 29?
I don't know. I'll be 30. That'll be different. You know what I mean? Different decade of age here coming up. So.
I remember when I turned 30. I remember back when I turned 30. I didn't even think twice about it, man. It was like, oh, that happened. Had a great birthday
don't get me
party.
wrong. It's not like I'm like thinking it's that big of a deal. I'm just saying from a number standpoint, like you ask if I feel 29, I feel like you feel differently in your 20s.
Yeah.
And I'm comparing that to what I think I'm going to feel like in my 30s.
Dude, I'm still
and that's a huge change.
I'm like, I can still fucking run that.
Yeah.
I can still jump that.
Careful, man. That's how you get hurt.
Oh, I know, man. I remember back when I first, it was a couple years after I moved into my place, and I was like, you know what? I was just like, I'm lazy. I gotta get active. I'm like, from now on, when I go get the mail, I'm running to the mailbox. And I'm like, I'm not just fucking jogging. I'm like, I'll run. I ran my ass off, right? Got to the edge of the end of the fucking driveway. I took a step. Pulled a hammy. I'm done.
That's how that happens.
I hobbled to get the
Dude,
mail,
even from high school to college, man. I got into college and I was playing intramural softball, intramural flag football.
Right.
I can't tell you, dude. I think the first 2 seasons I played softball, I pulled a hamstring. Running to first, dude.
The big thing is, I mean, if you think about it, it's the kind of activities that you were doing. Like, you were active every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Intramural, there's a good chance that you didn't do shit until it was time to play that intramural.
Nor did I stretch properly. Right. Nor was I active like I could have been during the day. So yeah, no, it's the definite difference. But that's what I'm saying. You gotta know those limitations. And I got a feeling from 30 to 39. Granted, I can make it feel better than 20 to 29 for sure. So that'll be the challenge.
I probably told this before, but I remember when one of my dogs got loose, and when Ghostbuster got loose, and I had to fucking chase him, right? And I was running, and I sat there, and I was running with him, and I sat there, and I was pumped because you know what I knew? I still got it.
No, that just means your dog is slow.
That motherfucker.
You got a slow dog.
That boy was floating, and I'm sitting there. I was just like, I'm running with the fucking wolves right now.
You're delusional, is what you are. That comes with age, also.
That's
a whole nother episode.
People in the neighborhood look at me a little bit different when they start thinking, "Ooh, okay."
that's what you're thinking, but they were pointing and laughing at you.
Oh, no, they
is what
saw
was
my
happening.
they saw my chest fucking collapse
yeah,
after
I was
I
gonna say
actually
they called
caught it.
911.
I'm like,
Ambulance shows up.
I got in the car. We were on our way to go see a movie, and I said there, like, once we got the dog in the fucking car and we dropped him back home, I'm sitting in the car. We're like, my wife's just like, "What the fuck is your problem?" I'm like, "I just fucking ran my ass off. I can't breathe." Fucking woman,
Yeah,
leave me alone.
right.
I'm dying.
Oh, shit.
Man.
Good shit.
Oh shit.
What you think about the scotch?
It's not bad, man. It's a lot milder than I thought. I mean, I also
Yeah.
didn't know like what Johnny Walker flavor it was gonna be and all that. I mean, like as far as like
the Game of Thrones edition.
Yeah, that and it's the because Johnny Walker came out with like bottles.
Are you drinking Game of Thrones scotch in a Game of Thrones whiskey glass?
This is the one with this is the White Walker one. Because they came out with like 3 bottles.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4.
That.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to my back. I was telling you about my backyard, man. I can't wait for that shit to be done because I told my wife once we're done, I'm doing shit the rest of the summer. I'm like, man, I'm gonna be fucking laid up. Read
you just got
books.
that pool, man. Hopefully you can just sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, it'll be dope. Have to get a waterproof books because I plan on doing a lot of reading.
Yeah.
I actually just ordered one of John Wooden's books because I realized that a lot of books I buy, I'm like, I should read more. I don't know, read more about like past sports athletes and such instead of just what's currently going on and kind of know the greats. And John Wooden's always been.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be
so
beneficial to like read books with like Hall of Fame coaches. And like, you know what I mean? Like crazy things like that, man. Like, I think those would be super interesting. I think it's Bill Russell has some fantastic books that you can read too. I know. I want to say my buddy Jason Jones has read a couple Bill Russell books that he absolutely loved.
Really?
Yeah, that he highly recommended. So if it ever gets down to it, I always reach out for him. I'll reach out to him for you.
I mean, he's a Celtic. I don't really know if he got anything to say.
If it's a good read and it teaches you something.
This is true. Man, I guess what do you want to get into first? We didn't even ask. We didn't even talk about that. Like, what would be a good topic to start?
I feel like the
today?
one good thing would be the actual sport of the day, which was
fun.
The match number 2, Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning versus Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady.
That was fun. It was a fun watch. I know you probably watched every hole.
Beginning to end.
I did not get to see everyone because of the fact that my family has not heard of the Emancipation Proclamation and don't realize that I am a free man, and they got me working like fucking crazy. But because I come in the house and I turn it on, and I would leave the living room for 2 fucking seconds, dude. My wife would be like, "Hey, come in the kitchen. I need you to check something out real quick." I walk into the kitchen, come back out, and fucking Bazinga guys on TV.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Man? I went checked something, came back, and it was changed. But I mean, like, it was funny. Like towards the end there, I watched I would say the whole back 9.
Sure.
And
that's definitely more Phil and Tom oriented for sure.
Yeah. But what I also one of the things I noticed during this was it was the second hole. Was it the second hole when Phil sat there and said he was kind of talking about the colors of the greens and how he was going to hit it? Yeah. And I was just like, I love the fact that he has taken to social media because of the fact that it has allowed you to get to know him in a way that we would have never gotten to know him, right? I mean, he's fucking funny, and he was funny during the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like he was, and Tom Brady was actually funny too. It was kind of funny how those two were the comic relief, and then, as you would expect, Tiger Woods and fucking Peyton are like, let's go. We're playing to win.
I mean, Peyton was joking a lot.
but Peyton,
He was joking a ton.
He's like
Tiger joked the least.
Yeah.
By far.
Is he on a golf course? This ain't games.
Yeah.
This isn't for fun.
I think Phil probably joked second least too, man.
Yeah.
Then Tom, then Peyton. I mean, I feel like he was comic relief for sure.
Well, I think Peyton
Tom Brady came
into his own. But I mean, Tom Brady's like he's the cool kid, but kind of goofy, like.
Yeah.
Hell of a shot though. What hole was that on?
Talking about Brady's hole out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like 6 or something like that.
Yeah. If you guys haven't seen that, I know Schefter put that up.
Tom Brady holes out for birdie, and he was probably at least 150 out. And it one bounce, and then just spins back tight and hits the pin and drops. And it was right as soon as Charles Barkley was telling Tom Brady that he thinks he could take him, which was super funny. And 2 holes before that, actually, I want to say it was like hole 4, Brooks Koepka tweeted that he would donate $100,000 to the COVID relief. So I guess for those of you who don't know what the match 2 was, these 4 guys put all this golf tournament together for one day, and all they were basically doing donations and help raise but help build funds to donate for COVID research and to like feeding children meals and
Russell Wilson 300,000 meals.
Yeah.
Big fucking.
So I mean, they ended up raising $20 million.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hundreds of thousands of meals being donated. I mean, like, it was insane. It was awesome. But Brooks Koepka went to Twitter because Tom Brady just couldn't hit a shot to save his life in those first couple holes. And Brooks Koepka said, I'll donate $100,000 if Tom Brady can get a par in the front 9. That hole, he gets like a bogey or something, and then he goes to the very next hole, third shot, holes out from 150.
That's huge.
For a birdie. Or was it a 4th shot? It might have been a par 5. But point being, he hit it. Brooks Koepka was like, that's why he's the GOAT, donates his $100,000, and then says, I'll donate another $100,000 if Brady gets a par in one of the 2 remaining holes of the front 9. Oh, so it was 7 then. So it was 7. Brady holed out on 7.
Okay.
So like, nonetheless, though, it was super cool to see. It was a hell of a lot of fun. There was like downpour rain. So like, normal golf tournament would have been called.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have golfed in those conditions, but when you're raising money for
even Chuck
something like that.
And for these who don't know, Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was like, hey, why don't we bring these guys in a little bit? Like, let's see if this will go by. The fact that it was raining actually made me think I need one of them kind of rain jackets.
Yeah.
For one. And then I started looking at the rest of their attire, and I did not like Tiger Woods' shorts.
No?
No. They were too Chris Webber, University of Michigan, baggy. I mean, they were just, I don't know. I didn't like it for.
Sure.
I don't know. And he got too small legs to fucking pull off the big ass shorts.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, they were probably rain shorts, so they were probably built like that.
Oh, I didn't even think about rain shorts.
Because they were all in rain gear.
Yeah, but I mean, Phil and Peyton had on.
Yeah, I could be, like I said, I could be wrong.
No, but I mean, I'm just thinking those are rain shorts. That makes sense. That makes more sense than.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a fucking fashion icon, but I mean, like.
Fashion. Shout out Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I was like, man, his shorts were bothering me the whole fucking match. I was like, those are fucking huge. I don't like them. What was I gonna say? The Wilson. It was funny because he said, "I'll donate $100,000 for anybody that." And when he sat there and said anybody that hits it within 12 feet, right? So he gave a fucking huge on that par 3. What hole was that? That was like 16 or something like that.
No, it was earlier on that. It was like 12. Yeah, it was 100% positive.
Okay.
Because I turned on my Xbox on like hole 13 when Phil and Tom were making like that solid comeback. Because at that point Nick had to bail to go do some chores, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna play some golf and I'm gonna watch some golf. And so that way during commercials I was preoccupied. And so like I played for like that. That's why I know Russell did it right near the turn or right after. It happened pretty quick.
It was on the back half. That I do know.
It happened. It probably been like 10 or 11.
Okay.
I mean, it was.
And I mean.
Nonetheless, though, I mean, like
he sat there and like the announcers thought he was just going to donate 100,000 if anybody did
Yeah.
it. And then he goes, "Oh, that's 200." Wait, you're doing 100,000 every time? He goes, yeah. And I was just like, "Fuck you, Russell Wilson."
I know.
Because I don't want to like you.
It's
Every
hard
time
not
he shows
to.
up, and he's such a fucking
He's a
great guy,
great
man.
dude. Yeah.
So,
Yep. And
um,
then to see Phil Mickelson, then Tom Brady, then Peyton Manning, all one up each other.
Yeah. Peyton
11
Manning.
feet, 9 feet, 3 feet. Bang, bang, bang. Tiger Woods hits the green outside of 15 feet or 12 feet or whatever it was. But it's just like, who thought Tiger Woods would be the furthest from the pin on this hole?
I know.
No one.
A betting man would have taken Tiger Woods right there.
I was a betting man. Lost a lot of money. No. I think I had 5 bets. I only ended up losing like $8.20 today on my bets, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
So I haven't even got a chance to really look at that site that you sent me yet. Is there a minimum bets? Is it just free for all?
I put a $1 bet on a hole-in-one today.
Okay. I was just curious. I haven't gotten. I was just like, you know what? I'm just like.
You'll learn when you do it. Once you start doing it, it's cake. I like to go big on UFC fights now. That's been my new thing, betting on UFC.
I have been, because UFC has been about the only game in town. I have legitimately started looking into not looking into like training, but like I was looking at like different fight styles. So I got on Netflix. Somebody told me about it a while ago, but I finally decided it's like basically this guy follows 6 or so episodes and he goes to different countries to their fight styles. So there was Taekwondo, there was
Jiu-Jitsu, karate.
There was no
Muay
karate,
Thai.
there was Muay Thai. And my new favorite is the Israel fight style, and that is Krav Maga.
Yeah.
I'm like they're just like, yo, like we just take everything that's best of everything, and boxing. They did boxing because they went down to Mexico, and but they like, we take everything and we just mash it up, but there's no point system or anything like that because the point system is living.
Sure.
So I was just like, well, that just became my favorite fucking thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Adesanya, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
Last style bender. He's a beast.
He's a fucking stud, dude.
Yeah.
I love that.
He's fun to watch.
He let me down the last fight. Real boring ass fight. But no, UFC's definitely been a lot of fun. I've been kind of really.
I was gonna say, I know the next fight is not this coming Saturday. Oh, not the Saturday that just passed, but this next coming up.
Yeah.
And Tyron Woodley is coming back, and I don't want to say out of retirement, but I don't think he's fought since 2016 or 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And Tyron Woodley will be fighting Gilbert Burns.
That'll be interesting.
And that'll be fun. Kevin Holland's fighting Daniel Rodriguez. I know Holland just fought I felt like a month ago almost. So it'll be cool to watch him fight again. Who else we got? Caitlin Chikagan is fighting Shevchenko.
Shevchenko, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That'll be a cool fight. Yeah. There's some other good fights in there too. But
on this upcoming week. I should just play around and just have fun.
Another free fight. Next UFC or pay-per-view won't be till Emmanuel Nunes fights on the 6th.
They only do one pay-per-view a month. I mean, I can't imagine just because they're the only card in town, they're just like,
right.
Hey.
No, yeah.
What was I gonna say? Well, I mean, if you heard about the NBA, kind of all over the place, but whatever. If you heard about the NBA though, they're actually they're gonna be going to Orlando. And
bless you.
Thank you. And they're gonna be in Orlando. So I mean, Florida's the like I said it like 2 weeks ago that they.
Bless you.
Fucking allergies. I'm sorry. This is what happens when you're outside all fucking day. But they definitely put themselves recession-proof during this time. If they could be the first on the block to start getting money, I mean, that's a lot of fucking people that, I mean, even though people can't go to their
right
and all that other stuff, you know, I mean, it's still, especially basketball. What is it, with the 14-man roster on an NBA team.
Is it 14?
14, 15,
Yeah, somewhere. Give or
something
take
like
one or
that.
two.
So 15
Yeah.
plus all the coaches. You know, and there's a good chance that the family goes. Maybe doesn't, you know, they're not gonna get to go to the game, but I mean, like that brings those people in there. Times that by, I mean, it's a lot of money for the fucking state of Florida.
Yeah.
It's huge for them. I mean, during a time that people aren't
Right.
vacationing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That was Florida. I mean, and where the fight's gonna be for UFC? Are they gonna be in Florida again?
I'm assuming. I
Yeah.
guess I can look. I still have it pulled up. Yeah, I don't know why they would not be still fighting in Jacksonville. It kind of just makes sense.
Well, I mean, even if they give another city in Florida some love, like you were talking, like Miami, which I just don't think is
UFC Apex.
I just don't think it's a good destination.
Nevada.
Well, I was gonna say a lot of people are. You know what?
Yeah, they're back in Vegas.
You know what? I think that Dana was just showing that he could do it, and he got it worked out for that. So, well, fucking genius, dude. He don't like traveling. He loves everything to be in Vegas. That's the reason why he lives in Vegas. Bravo.
Smart man.
I don't know what you want to talk about, man. Like, we did no just like let's rock the shit.
Yeah. I mean, we could stick with some NBA, show some condolences, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, man. So for there's not really much I'm gonna say. We lost a huge, I would say a huge part of basketball this week. Former Utah Jazz coach Jerry Sloan passed away. 23 years as the Jazz coach, which even though he never won the big the big one, to be 23 years as a coach in one fucking city. That's legendary status.
I mean,
man.
It's reading right here, you know, like John Stockton and Karl Malone as players, Jerry Sloan epitomized the organization. He will be greatly missed. We extend our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Tammy, and entire Sloan family, and all who knew and loved him. I mean, so, you know, and that was said by
NBA executive.
I was gonna say, yeah, actually, I don't see. I think it might have just been like somebody from the top of the organization speaking to him, but you know, I mean, it just goes to show, you know, how much appreciation that the city of Utah had for Coach Sloan and the impact that he had, and like, you know, even though they may not have, I mean, I know they didn't win when Malone and Stockton were there, but like, I don't know if he had any championships in his coaching career. My gut tells me he didn't, but
I was gonna say, I mean, like, and I can't act like I'm a fucking
right.
Sloan know-it-all, but I just don't believe so.
Yeah.
But
we can say
you just got to me thinking. I mean, like, as we're sitting here talking, could you imagine any team nowadays allowing a coach to be around for 23 years and not win?
I mean, it says right here that Charlotte, Memphis, Toronto, Orlando, and Minnesota didn't even exist when he started in Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in the league for a minute.
But I mean, that's what I mean. He used to play for the Bulls.
Yeah. Fourth all-time in regular season games, fourth all-time in regular season wins, fourth all-time in playoff games, sixth all-time in playoff wins.
Yeah.
He's got a nice coaching career there. I mean, that's Hall of Fame type numbers.
And he's a Midwest guy. He comes from Indiana, so, or excuse me, he was born in Illinois, but he grew up in Indiana, if I remember correctly. But you know, rest in peace, Jerry Sloan, and our condolences go out to the Sloan family and the Utah Jazz family. What's going on here? We got. We want to get into some NFL, or you want to
go with your heart?
Did you put the MLB thing in here?
I did.
Touch that real quick. Even though we said we were going to be done touching like nonsense.
Sure. So, for as far as MLB news goes, last big news drop that I think we had, and this might have happened like 2 weeks ago or so, but CB and I are finally getting to it just for the sake of content. And previous episodes have been too fire. But
It's
yeah.
a much better conversation to have about. But I feel like we should at least just touch base.
So the MLB 2020 season plan. Basically, owners went through and they approved a proposal to start the league back up in July. But the issue that they're running into now, since this article dropped, is the MLBPA, the Players Association, isn't in agreement with basically what the owners pushed through. So basically, some of the major items that this proposal included was they were going to turn it to an 82-game regional schedule and universal designated hitter rule. So pitchers would no longer bat, and they would shorten the season from 162 games to 82.
Yeah,
right.
Shorten that fucking season.
And they would do 30-man active rosters, and there would be a 20-player taxi squad, which your 20-player taxi squad is basically like your minor league system ready to go. I believe you have the option of like having these players travel with you upon request and things like that, but they're not a part of your active roster. So if a guy goes in and gets hurt, like you can't add these guys, but if they're hurt permanently, you can swap them out before your next game. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's how they explain the taxi squad.
No, I think that's I just don't feel like it's a cost-effective way to do it.
Yeah, so it is extremely unlikely there will be a minor league season in 2020, and a 20-man taxi squad is the best way to keep players ready and available as injury replacements and call-up options. Other minor leagues could even take part in what amounts to an extended spring training at each team's complex, though nothing is finalized.
Okay, I can fuck with that. I'm just sitting here thinking like you're paying for all these players to travel.
Well, no. I think they travel if you're going to use, like, I don't think they travel with you unless they're the 30-man active. Only the 30-man active travels. The taxi squad is like, so-and-so just got hurt. We're going to fly you out because he's injured reserve. He's like off the active.
Okay, so like, hey, you're like, sprain your ankle. He's not playing tomorrow. Fucking call the Mud Hens and send up. That's right. I want Toledo.
Yeah.
Gang.
Yeah.
So
basically.
Okay. That's what's up.
They proposed 14 teams in the postseason with games played in home cities in October. And then, the last part was a 50-50 revenue split with players and owners. And out of everything we went over, that 50-50 revenue split is what killed it for the Players Association. So basically where the disputes are now is the owners want, because of the loss of revenue without having crowds and your concessions aren't running and obviously all of that stuff, they're basically wanting to take revenue sharing arrangements are common in other sports, such as NFL, NHL, NBA, but it would be unprecedented in the MLB. So MLBPA Executive Director Tony Clark, #Tiger, has said the union is done negotiating salary terms after agreeing to prorated salaries. So before the
players were not okay with that.
Yeah. So correct. So basically, what happened is the salary reduction issue figures to be the most significant hurdle that has to be cleared. In a different article, because it's not this one, of course. Basically, there's players that are upset about this because they signed contracts to play for certain amounts of money. And now because of COVID, these teams are like, oh, well, we're losing money now. So whatever we bring in for revenue, we're going to cut it down the middle, and you guys take that half as salary. We take this half as revenue for the organization. And players are basically saying no, because they're paying at basically a pay cut because they're playing less games and there's no fans. And that's where it sits as of right now.
What's your opinion on that? Because the fact that at the end of the day, if you don't play, you could legitimately just say, if you don't play, you don't get paid, right? Mm-hmm. Where the owners are sitting here saying, look, and now granted, this is negotiations, right? But I mean, the owners are like, look, this is what we think is going to be fair, where you can make some money and we can make some money and you can still play the game and make money,
right,
rather than we don't have a season or you don't play and you don't get paid.
I would like to assume that these are conversations that are being had.
Well, yeah, they're being
Right.
had, but I'm just curious
Right.
what your
I
opinion
mean,
is
I
on
guess
this.
if I'm in the player's shoes, I guess what my whole thing is, a season consists of 162 games, and
Too many.
I'm signing to be basically active from spring training, April-ish, potentially all the way through October. And that's my season, and that's what I'm getting paid for. And for there to only be half of those games roughly, I find it tough for the players to sit there and not at least understand that there's got to be a little give. You
Right.
know what I mean? For the situation,
I wonder where
you're
you're
playing
going with
half the
this. Here.
games, so simple logic says you get paid half the money. Now, what's going to happen though is their weeks are going to be a little more strenuous. They're not going to get as many days off. They're not going to get 2 days off or extended breaks between travel. They're going to have 1 day off a week. So it's not like, it's still the same, just half the games. They're actually condensing 82 games into a smaller time frame than normal too. So a little bit more goes into overworking the players, potentially more travel, especially with having limited roster. You can't decide, hey, I'm not going to travel.
So we gotta go less than 82 games to. I mean, from what you're saying right here, and
Yeah.
I mean, and this isn't you saying this. I mean, you're saying it, but I mean, and you're not speaking for the players, but we would have to go less than 82 games for them to be feeling that this is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing that I can gather from this is that you have to be less than 82 games for it to even be fair on their side. I mean, that's what they're telling me when they're just like, oh, we're not going to do this 50-50 split. Because here's what's happened, and it's not the player's fault. It's the owner's fault. It's Major League Baseball's fault that they have these fluctuated salaries that they have deemed a reasonable amount to pay these guys. Inflated. That's what I wanted to say. Inflated contracts, and so they've decided to pay these guys. That's not the player's fault. I've always been a big advocate of if I put a number out there and you're crazy enough to pay me this astronomical number, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
So. But the players really need to realize that. It's either
it's still a business.
They don't play and make no money,
right?
Or they understand that this is just this season, and you make some money. I mean, think about Bryce Harper or Trout or any of these guys. Yes, they do not need the money, but how much do they get per year? And now you're saying, okay, instead of $17 million for this year, you're only gonna get 8,
and it's
or nothing.
So that's not how it's working. They want to. The owners want to take in what's made off of each game and split it. So players could be getting $50,000. Like that's not a real number, but you see where I'm coming from. It's not based upon their contract. It's based upon incoming revenue off of what they can earn for fanless games.
Which is
now it's completely different because it's
funny because this is where they should have been fucking running their contracts the entire time.
So back in May 18th, the owners are claiming they're going to lose roughly $640,000 per game. Per game, these owners are going to lose $640,000 times 82. Then times another 80 for the games that aren't even played. And so that's where the owners are coming from. So that's why they're looking for this 50-50. And then what happened is on May 20th, players reviewing safety proposal. So there was a safety proposal put through about protocols. The call included more than 130 MLB players with all 30 teams being represented. It was a 3-hour call, it looks like, tons of questions and recommendations from players. Then there was a formal presentation later that day. The commissioner, Rob Manfred, and MLB attorneys plan to present their formal economic plan to the union by Friday. So this was back on May 20th, though. In that presentation, MLB will further detail the financial losses the league claims it will incur in the 2020 season. The league previously claimed that teams would suffer a combined loss of roughly $4 billion with no fans in attendance. If players decline to accept another salary reduction, if they decline to do another salary reduction. So if players are like, you're paying me what I signed up for regardless of how many games, $4 billion in lost revenue for the owners. So, I mean, at this point, now we're just, I mean, not saying they're doing it selfishly, but now these owners are like, well, we need to look out for our own well-being. I get it. They're businessmen. Like,
there's a reason why they own fucking these. Here's the thing: is like this is their game. You know what I mean? This is their monopoly. Their fucking shoots and ladders. You know.
I can't. I'm going to audio. You ready on audio? Oh, it doesn't matter yet. All right, people. So 85 episodes, and CB and I are still battling troubleshooting issues. So if you can't tell from the Skype video, I no longer have a headset. I'm sitting in a new place. And because when I traveled back home, I didn't bring my actual microphone, and I just brought my headset, which is what you guys have seen me using. But because we're in person, I wasn't prepared. We did 30 minutes of a podcast, realized that CB's voice is in the background of my microphone. So what we're doing now is we have this ghetto setup, my gaming headset here halfway between us.
And I'm still holding the mic because that's my audio for.
No, we're all over the place.
We're professionals. We're professionals.
We have episodes deep, and we don't need to explain ourselves.
That's just Cinco. That's right. I said Chad Johnson for 85.
But to attempt to get back into sports, at the end of the day, basically what we're still talking about at this point is just the MLB season and where they're at. Long story short, man, I think where we left off was the $4 billion in potential loss for these owners. And they are going to be presenting a new economic proposal. I didn't go through that one, and I'm not going to read all that. But let's just leave it to where we are. 50-50 revenue split. You kind of asked me where I fell on that. I mean, it sounds like you're kind of in the same boat, man. Like, if you're not playing that many games, you shouldn't be paid the amount of money you signed for. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah. I mean,
this then to go into a different kind of same topic, but I want to get your viewpoint on this. So 50-50 revenue split, MLBPA says not a chance. What would be your rebuttal as an owner? What would you come back with? You know, other than re-explain, you guys are only playing half the games. What do you think?
I think at that point, a rebuttal is, don't just give me no. That's not the way business gets done. You know, we're in negotiations. You can turn me down, but you need to come back with something that you prefer to see happen. And I haven't heard that happen yet. I just heard no. I don't want to play for less money. That's all I've heard. And so I mean, until they do that, that's where MLB is right now. Is they are sitting there saying, well, what do you want? What's going to get your ass on the field? Because 50-50 is fucking fair.
Yeah.
They literally could have said 60-40, 60 us, 40 you.
Yeah.
Because we are the fucking league. They could have said that. They're like 50-50. It sounds like what I've seen this week. There's a lot of fair contracts when it comes out in this world. A lot of fair things were offered this week, and I just that makes sense to me. In case you didn't know, I'm kind of getting to the contract world conversation because some big podcasting things happened this week. It actually got me looking to switch my fucking what I use for my music.
Okay. What happened?
Well, the fact that Joe Rogan is now going to be Spotify only. That is huge, man. And I'm not gonna. I don't get the financials of it because it's a lot of dough, and that's not my business. But I had to look it up a little bit. But I just thought the fact that Spotify themselves, who I actually started listening to our podcast on, because of the fact that some of the features that I've liked about it,
That's all listen to our podcast on
and I'm like, yo, I think I'm about ready to get rid of Apple Music for music and just go Spotify with it because they're getting ready to have a video platform with it too. Because Joe Rogan, I know this isn't sports guys, but he's MMA. And so, but the video part isn't going to be on YouTube anymore. It's going to be on Spotify. Now he's going to have JRE clips still, so the clips are still going to be on YouTube, but the whole show is going to be, from the way we've understood it this week, it's going to be on Spotify. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I have more info back on the baseball if you want to.
I do want to get back.
So the union is expected to propose a plan that allows players to receive their prorated salaries based on the number of games played, which was part of an agreement between the two sides finalized March 26th. But a certain amount of money would be deferred to future years to help reduce the owner's expenses for the 2020 season. So they're going to go back and say, this is what we agreed on initially, which was on March 26th. That's after all the cancellations, if I'm not mistaken. That's right around the league being done.
Yeah.
And so they came out and said, we'll pay you prorated based upon what's played. But now, because of the pandemic being fans can't come, XYZ, the owners want to go back and rearrange it again because the loss is so heavy. So it sounds like the players are going to really try and stay their ground and say, we already agreed upon something. We're not redoing this all over again. Which I guess you could say as a player would be a fair argument to say, then why did we do this in the beginning if you were just going to go back and redo? You should have. It's almost like the MLB owners didn't take into account or wait long enough to get details.
Right.
And they made an agreement before they should have, which I'm not good with the legal side of things, but I mean, I feel like that's, it's one of those things that like, hey, I know we didn't understand this, but we already agreed upon something that was offered by you in the first place. So that's how we're going to keep rolling.
It's just a tough thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's I just think that at some point, if you want to have a season, and you understand, you agree, but there was also during that time that was agreed upon. This is where they stood. This is what they understood was going to happen. Things have changed. You know what I mean? Like a prorated amount.
Well, yeah, the prorated amount was going to be agreed upon because they thought they could have fans back in the stand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. March 26th. We were supposed to be at a basketball game March 22nd.
Why are you bringing shit up?
I'm sorry, but I mean,
no, you're not.
I am. Because believe me, I wanted to see it. It's a Laker game. It was a Laker game, and I was really looking forward to watching one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And Anthony Davis, a monster. Kyle Kuzma's a stud. I have been, but but during that time, shit, you and I were talking like, I don't know. We were still kind of planning on going to this game, you know what I mean? Like it was just like, like gonna be weird. But yeah, I was like, I guess we're gonna go, and then I guess hope we don't catch the Rooney, and then everything else fucking just unfolded. So I think in the state of Michigan we got the lockdown until June 12th. So we got extended until the middle of June now. So it's like it's just a weird time, and I think that for them to sit there and hold them to something then when they thought they were gonna be able to have fans in the stands. To be able to count those kind of fucking, once again, the amount of money that they're going to pay.
So should the players be giving the owners a break?
I don't think it's. I'm not a player, so it's not fair for me to sit here and say that they should give them a break, right? I don't know as a player what they do, take care of themselves, be ready, how they're trying to stay ready during these times when you just can't go and take BP. You just can't, do certain things. You know what I mean? Like, For a lot of guys, you gotta think about it. A lot of guys, the best beef they're gonna be able to get at a time like during when this was all really at a head, when COVID was really at a head, where you really locked down, was hopefully you had a net and you would be in your backyard with a fucking tee hitting into a net. You know, some guys, any of your big name players probably have a batting cage at their home. But so that's one way to keep your eye ready and all that stuff. But I mean, it's tough for me not being a player that says that they should give them maybe they're really above and beyond trying to stay ready to play ball, but there's a lot of fucking ball players, and I can't believe all of them are doing that. But if they want to make a living,
Sure.
I think that they should figure out a way to conclusion. Just stop saying I don't want to do it. So.
Sure.
Oh.
Let's jump sports.
Yeah. It's kind of like the frustrating. There's no right answer. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see how it unfolds. As we get more news, we'll be able to
I'm sitting here and I'm like, I feel like there's no way to put a fucking bow in that conversation. You know, like I'm just kind of stuck right now because the more I think about it, I see both sides. The business side I will see.
I mean, I don't think we've ever had the ability to have a discussion about something like this.
Right.
You know, I mean, back if we were recording back when 9/11 went down, that would be the only other big event that stopped sports in its track that could potentially have seen an elongated period of no games played, and how that could have impacted salaries, pay. But like something like this, I mean, I don't think any of us would have thought a virus would have come through and halted not the sport, let alone the world the way it has. So to be able to sit here and say, how does an entire league with its, owners and players come to an agreement on pay, schedule, playoffs, championships? Like, how do you? I mean, this is nuts, man.
I mean, just NBA in general. I mean, they're having a tough time trying to figure that out, and they're still trying. They're trying to push. They're pushing for July. Yeah. They still don't know how they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Hockey's the same thing. They're talking about I think 4 bubble teams making it and making a playoff, and are they gonna do some kind of a playoff for teams that didn't have a chance, but maybe they're gonna let them have a playoff way to get their way into a playoff. I mean, there's a lot of weird things that they're doing to be able to give us sports. But it's I hate using the word unprecedented, but this is an unprecedented situation that we're going through, where all it is speculation. You know what I mean? And then of course you want to pick a side. I mean, this is during this time has really shown what a proficient fan is that we are, because we have legitimately been talking about no sports but talking sports for the past 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
We are legitimately when you talk about being keyholed and having to keyhold into having to talk about a certain thing, that's us. Yeah. We're not just like your pop culture having that conversation. So whatever random somebody did stupid on fucking what's that fucking one?
TikTok.
Not even just TikTok, but no, the one where people get in fights. World Star. We're not just we actually constantly have to try and come up with something. And I mean, fucking 2 months straight.
Yeah.
And I don't even talk about as much as what the mainstream media did, like ESPN and Fox 1 and all those guys, where they focused in on the MJ story. We talked about it, but that wasn't most of our fucking thing. Now, granted, we only speak once a week, but I still think that we could have avoided spending as much time that every show did on that shit. So, yeah, let's get into some football. Bow.
I mean, you posted up here about the Rooney Rule.
Yeah, that's
So,
a tough one, man.
Yeah, so like, why don't you kind of do you want to recap kind of what the Rooney Rule is for the listeners?
So basically, the Rooney Rule is just saying that it's cornerbacks.
In a nutshell, that's literally what it is.
Yeah, basically it's just saying that every team, if there's an opening, they need to interview the minority coach.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to put this little caveat of if they right.
You just catch me like I keep like rubbing my eyes and yawning. They're watering.
Now that they got this caveat, if you were to interview a minority, then that may give you, or even it was an interview or hire a minority, they would actually give you more draft picks. Now that's a fucking disrespectful fucking shit I've ever fucking heard. Because of the fact that like you're like, oh, you got a blackie. Oh, you guys behind the 8 ball now. You guys need an extra draft pick. Get the fuck out of here. That's some fucking hillbilly white ass shit I've ever heard. That's aggravating as fuck.
Let's recap some rules, and then we'll both get into that because I got my 2 cents too. So the NFL is trying to make enhancements to this so-called Rooney Rule. The enhancements would include changes both on and off the field. So they're saying clubs will now be required to interview at least 2 external minority candidates for head coach vacancies, at least 1 minority candidate of any of the 3 coordinator vacancies, and at least 1 external minority candidate for the senior football operations or general manager position. Yep. And they're saying clubs must now include minorities and or female applicants in the interview process for senior level, front office positions. So the whole point of this is trying to get people of color or of a different ethnic background, basically.
I'm okay with the
and they're trying to get them in coaching positions. I mean, the biggest argument we're going to use the NFL, but actually I believe the NBA too. I think all of the owners of these teams are white. Like I could be wrong in the NBA side. I know for a fact in the NFL, almost all the owners are white. There's one gentleman with Middle East descent. I can't remember where from. The Jaguars owner, and then there's one person. Is there one black owner in the NFL?
I'm looking. I just happen to type up NFL right now.
I can't remember.
There are only 2 owners of color in the NFL.
Okay.
Oh, let me get my mic up here for the thing. So
hold
on. I'm waiting for this.
One of them's the gentleman for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know that for a fact.
NFL are people of color. That? Hold on. Yeah, that looks like Jacksonville. He looks
It's of
Middle Eastern, and then there is a Asian lady.
What team?
I'm trying to figure that out.
That is correct, though. I remember them covering that.
That's sure. Kellen Panther said he. Sean Combs, otherwise known as that's Diddy when he's talking about it. Well, I think I'm trying to get some names here. The Bills. She owns part of the Bills. Kim Pagula. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't mean to butcher your name, you billionaire. And then and she's of the Bills, and then Shahid Khan, owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So the reason I bring that up is because there's a lot of people that are saying there's not enough black coaches in the league. And so the whole point of the Rooney Rule is to just get adversity. You have a league that's primarily like who plays that's black. Yeah. And then you have all of these white
players. You look it up, it's like 65% or something like that.
68%.
Yeah.
68, 62, somewhere in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of predominantly white owners. And so,
slave owners.
That argument has been thrown out. So I don't want to get too deep into the political side of it. And
that's not political, it's just racist.
The political viewpoints it's like we don't
Yeah.
talk about in the sports side of things.
Right.
These slaves are so fast. Look at their slave combine.
Yeah, remember Chris Rock? I mean, I don't drop inbounds, but he's just like, the NFL doesn't stand for National Football League. It stands for fucking large. N-word, fucking large.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I'm just like, damn, you gonna make me spell it out? I don't say that word.
So, anyways, let's talk about the other thing that they're talking about. So let's just stay on topic really quick. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. The whole fact that they're requiring the interview process of these people, I don't shy away from that, because if you're trying to incorporate adversity into the league, at some point in time, when the league is predominantly known to be more conservative with their hiring process, yeah, a lot of the experience is coming from the white community.
Yeah.
Like, that's just naturally how it kind of is right now. And exactly. And I'm totally okay with saying, hey, guys, we need to start interviewing more women and more people with different backgrounds.
Wait a minute, you're getting a little carried away with that. I'm joking.
I just do not support this message.
I am 100% joking.
It's just sexism.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with that. What I don't agree with is this whole NFL talking about giving extra draft picks to teams that hire minorities.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is an absolute terrible decision. Terrible decision. Your front office decision to bring somebody in to potentially help you become an organization that like the New England Patriots, that you're trying to build something so special that you're better than everyone else. We're not then going to give you an advantage just because you hired somebody in.
Is that really the culture you want to have?
Like, that's ridiculous. We're going to give you an advantage, a competitive advantage. How many people out there do you think would hire people of different background or females, take their draft picks, and then fire these people after a year? Like, where's the stipulation start and end?
I'm 100% for getting more people in. I mean, that's But this whole idea of, hey, we're gonna give you a nice cookie for hiring somebody, a female or a minority. I think that's silly. And I mean, I'll be honest, I do look forward to when there's a time that there's a female head coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that will be sick, dude. I
think it happens in basketball before football, but
it definitely will, because of the fact that the game of basketball is the same, whether it's male or female, right? The X's and O's. Females don't really play football.
Right.
Females know football. But there are female football leagues, but I think it's not to the same in-depthness. That's not even a fucking word, but for this conversation, I'm gonna make one up.
To better put what you're trying to say is the NBA has built itself into a respectable league.
No, you're trying to get too. No, fuck that. Like the NBA, WNBA, when you fucking drop a fucking thing. There's a reason why coaches can go from the NBA to WNBA, or the WNBA to the NBA, right? Because basketball is basketball. You drop a play. The triangle offense is still the fucking triangle offense, no matter if it's a woman or a male fucking doing it. And yet, the caliber of play, I would say, is the same, just a little bit different. You just don't get the dunks.
Mm-hmm.
And WNBA. I mean, where you do with NBA, right? All in all, the exact same game.
Yeah.
All right.
Only thing I'm saying is I would argue that because the NBA is, in my opinion, the most successful women's sport organization on this planet.
WNBA?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, compared to women's professional soccer, women's professional hockey, women's, like, all the other professional women's sports, the WNBA is the crown jewel of the women's professional sports. And they've built that, though.
That's because the NBA. What I'm going to say is going to sound like I'm taking away from what the WNBA has built, but it's because of the fact that the NBA has put their arm around them in a non-sexual way and said, hey, you are with us. That's the reason why you see WNBA women in the All-Star game and all that stuff. So, I mean, like...
to exactly what you said, that's the only reason I think the NBA takes on a female head coach before any other sport. Because of this arm around the shoulder, that foot's already in the door. You have if the NBA respects the WNBA, they're going to respect the coaches. Therefore, the coaches don't have to. How do I put this? They already have a name for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being.
Cheryl Miller probably 30-40% of
I'm saying
coaches
the gap between. And I don't mean to make this sound bad. If you're a WNBA coach, you have enough on your resume to be credited for an NBA team. What you can't do in any other sport.
What I was trying to say though was the fact that if you are a female, like if you grow up playing basketball for a female, you could grow up semi playing football, right? Because there's not a whole lot of football leagues now. Yes, there's growing in high school sports and all that stuff for females to play football, but it's still not a dominant thing, right? And then to even go on further and play afterwards, it's all like you have to really branch away, and you're not having the organization of what high school, college basketball, WNBA basketball, all those things. That's kind of what I was trying to get at.
Dude, I mean, that's why.
No, I didn't think we were disagreeing. I was just trying to make sure that was.
That's why a woman won't get into the NFL anytime soon as a head coach. Like, where's your back? How are you going to prove to me that you can coach an entire team when you don't have any play history? You don't have any coaching history yet. Like, I forgot her name. San Francisco. Yeah, so we have a coach, an assistant coach that's helping in the 49ers organization. Now she has a resume. She could potentially be the first official female head coach.
The NBA has been probably the most progressive professional sport out there. Because they were also supposed to have a woman referee. Now you have it in the NFL. And I believe you have MLB as well. Field umps. I don't know if there's been one behind the plate.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But the NBA has been kind of the trailblazer for a lot of things.
I would say so, yeah. So we're both definitely against giving picks away.
I think that's stupid.
And I'm completely agreeing with that.
I am disappointed in the NFL for this to be in a conversation. I love you love the game of football. I love the game of football, and I just can't believe. And I think that we hold the Shield in a pretty high regard. And to think that they would actually be as ignorant and incompetent to think that this is a wise thing to bring up and actually say it out loud. It's like if you're in an elevator and you're there. If you ever seen Liar Liar? Right? When you're just like you're in the elevator with a beautiful woman. She has beautiful breasts, and you're like, they're nice. You do that internally. You don't say, "Whoa, let me motorboat them bitches." You don't do that. So I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, like, it's okay. Maybe, hey, this is an idea. Then you think about it. You even go home, sleep on it. And then realize, oh, that was some stupid shit when you're eating your fucking Cheerios the next morning. That was stupid. So, sorry. It's just so stupid. I can't believe that this happened. I mean, that's the thing. If you want to go to that.
Yeah, man. Let's have some fun with the pod.
All right.
My lighting's getting terrible for this video. I don't know if Skype's going to pick me up good on this. I just realized that, too. So, granted, if the YouTube video...
Right now, I keep on getting like a little bit of dark shadows from you.
Yeah, because this light is getting picked up in the background, where at first I didn't have it in my background.
Yeah.
So this is just all around rough. But I tell you what, for all of you guys out there, I enjoy hanging out with my friend more than I care about my audio or video quality.
In person, this has been fantastic, and I mean, you don't understand, like, when we had a little issue there for a while, there was like some like, yo, do we do this? Do we do this? And I was just like, I know personally, I don't want to re-record the first half. I was just like, I mean, we'd be done. That 30 minutes could be done in 7 minutes. So, you know, I'm gonna start us off real quick with Would You Rather?
Yeah, it's almost been 4 months since we've recorded together.
I know. Right.
More than that.
Yeah.
January.
Yep. That's wild, man.
That's crazy. So we're gonna do a this or that segment, people. These, I mean, I got some for CB. He's got some for me. We're just gonna rapid fire some crazy questions and go off on some talking tangents.
So I got one for you.
Would you rather
catch a football thrown by John Elway in his prime, or a fastball from Roger Clemson in his prime?
Physical capability, I'm catching Elway's pass far before I'm catching Clemens. But I tell you what, Clemens is bringing heat, and if he puts it over the plate, I can catch it. I can catch that. But it's gonna be. I can't get hurt by a football. I'm gonna go. But you know what?
John Elway threw some.
I'm gonna go with Clemens, because how much cooler of a story to say I sat behind a plate with a 100-mile-per-hour heater coming in. Way cooler than just catching a football. As much as I love football and as legendary as John Elway, I mean, you gave off 2 Hall of Famers. So
I mean,
I'm gonna go with the fastball.
Fastball.
What about you?
That one's a tough one. Being a former catcher, I was just like, you a lot of times you're gonna catch it right in the web.
But
there's a lot of things,
there's a lot of variables here, right? One, I never caught a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. None of my pitchers ever threw 100. Like 90 was probably like the fastest I saw, and I caught those just fine. But when they hit you, if you didn't catch it, you caught it right there in the fucking pop. Oh yeah. I mean, that fucking hurt. And then if you miss that shit and hit you in your shoulder or whatever, I mean, that could hurt. And I mean,
it will hurt.
Yeah.
Not bad. It will hurt.
Right.
That
So
shit's gonna fuck you up.
So and then I was just like, so maybe I just go with John Elway. And I thought, wow, if I miss, it's gonna hurt my chest. It's gonna cave my chest in. It's getting better. Just take your phone and just put the fucking flashlight up, so it's like a fucking horror movie.
See, I can get the video better. That's tons better. Now the mic's further though. This is what I'm concerned with. It's leaving that in between here.
Yeah, I'm sure it's good. If it picked me up earlier, when it was on your fucking head, though.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, no, I honestly think that I would go. I would still go Roger Clemens fastball.
Super.
I mean, I just think that being able to say I caught that. And I don't think I'm gonna break my hand. I think John Elway's gonna break my finger. I think John Elway's gonna break my fingers and my sternum.
Jeez. Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna catch that ball. It's gonna come in. I'm gonna use my hands like a fucking receiver does. It's gonna come in, but it's still gonna right in my fucking chest. I'm like, whoa!
A baseball will catch that bitch out here and do this.
Yeah, you better hope. So you get Rookie of the Year, and that bitch goes.
So I would go. I would still go. I would go Roger.
That was a good question. What else you got? You got more?
You want to alternate them?
I didn't have a list.
Oh, you didn't have a list?
I thought you said yes.
No, I said I came up with a couple in my head, but they weren't good. I can go off the top if you want.
If you got one off top, go ahead. If not, I got another one.
Okay, hang on, let me.
All right, here you go.
I got.
Let's keep them rolling.
So
Let all the people on the Skype know that you use that whack ass iPhone.
I know, right?
Taking it out for PC users. Android all day, baby.
player.
Until Android wants to sponsor us. He's like, oh yeah, fuck Apple.
Galaxy what? So would you regular? Okay, so
you
you had the chance to. Would you rather have been able to go to a regular season game that the Dolphins go undefeated in that whole season, or go to the Super Bowl to watch the Dolphins and they lose? So you go to a regular season, undefeated season, they win everything, and you just go to a regular season game.
Or you actually went to the fucking game of all games, Super Bowl,
but your team loses.
Is it in the same season? Because I want to say regular season undefeated and
No,
hopefully
no,
that
no,
year we win.
No.
I mean, I guess if I had to pick, I would choose the Super Bowl. And then let me explain. The reason I would say that is to go to a Super Bowl, for most people, that's probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
And I can go to 20 regular season games. You know, and the fact of going undefeated, you can't take that from me if my team goes undefeated. Like, you know what I mean? 72 is cool, but I wasn't alive during that.
Right.
If we went undefeated, let's just say next year, okay? Like, we went undefeated. And you know, like, that's cool. You can't take that from me. And as cool as it would be to say I went to a game during that season, it's just another win. My experience was just another win.
But what if it was like, who's your rival?
I guess.
Okay,
that's
it's not gonna be good.
Okay. Let's say that you are.
Okay.
I mean, it's hard to make the regular season game of importance unless we like clinch home field.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool too. I'm just saying, to go to a Super Bowl, man, like, there's so much more with it. You know what I mean? Because if I went for Super Bowl weekend, I would see some of the press conferences. I would get to hang out and meet, like, diehard Dolphins fans. You're going to see diehards at a regular season game, but you're also going to come across a whole bunch of people who don't care about football. If you're at a Super Bowl, there's not one person. Well,
all those tickets are fucking corporate tickets.
There's a small percentage of people
that
be walking around in Dolphins gear.
Because every year you're gonna have.
If I go, those people care.
Yeah.
Even if they're corporate tickets, they're probably not decked out in Dolphins gear and say, "Oh, I haven't seen a game yet this season."
Right.
How do you own member? You see where I'm connecting these dots? Corporate people are going to be in dress shirts. They're going to be in fucking nice clothes and nice watches and Sperry's, and they're, I don't know, fucking. My point being is, I think the Super Bowl all in all would be a cool experience.
Yeah.
We lost, whatever, but like, that's a Super Bowl, man.
Yeah.
I've seen the Dolphins 5 times. Like,
but I mean, like, it's a magical season.
I mean, sure. You answered my question. I said Super Bowl. I would rather go to a Super Bowl. Plus, that's a bucket list. So it's kind of hard to not go do something on your bucket list.
No,
you know?
I mean,
what's your answer?
I would have to say. I'm sitting here thinking, like, if I went and watched them and they played the Bears and it was like a meaningful thing, or it was Green Bay and it was a meaningful game. It was like one of those.
Meaningful, kind of like Super Bowl. Meaningful.
Well, I mean,
regular season, we're fighting for the fucking conference championship.
But if you're undefeated, you're not fighting for anything.
That's true.
That's my point. Is none of those games are relevant because you would have already beaten them once, maybe twice.
Word.
Unless you were 15-0, your final game of the season was against Green Bay at Lambeau, and to preserve the perfect season.
Yeah.
If you were there, now that would be kind of cool. But to go to show what the Patriots did, if you lose the Super Bowl, your undefeated season was pointless at that. Now you have to win out.
I think going to the Super Bowl would be just a dope thing. I would probably choose the Super Bowl personally. But I also realized that going to the Super Bowl. I've never been to the Super Bowl, so I don't know what the feel is like.
Right.
Because I just don't know if it would be the same feel as I would feel going to a home game.
Fair. Oh, agreed there.
You know, I mean, like you're in a vibe and you're just like, yo, these are my people. You know, you walk through Motor City, and you got the fucking, Honolulu Blue on. You're like, yo, these are my people. Let's do this. You go to an alternate location.
Yeah, you're like a 40-40-20 split.
Yeah.
Fans, neutral football people.
Right. So it's a different vibe. But to be able to go experience the whole Super Bowl weekend, that would be dope.
See,
but
that's what I was thinking.
But the game, though, too. I mean, like, you can see a game better on TV than you can in person.
Agreed.
And so it's like, I don't know. I mean, going through live games are awesome, but I mean, I just think that it's just probably a better experience to be able to watch.
Sure.
So,
they both have a lot of pros, man.
Yeah.
That's a tough question. Hence why we're still on the topic.
Yeah, right.
That's a tough one.
I want to go to the Super Bowl just
you
because.
never want to see your team lose.
Yeah.
I just tell myself I can always go to a regular season game. That's what I always just tell them. I can always go to another regular season
Right.
And you're hopeful.
And those tickets will cost a lot less than what your Super Bowl ticket
That's
was.
absolutely true. You can make a better experience and just ball the fuck out, and you'd still be under what you spent on your one Super Bowl ticket.
Yeah.
So, but that's, once again, that's the only reason Super Bowl takes the cake for me is I may be doing something that I would never get a chance to do ever. Granted, your team could never go undefeated again, so solid.
I got one here.
This is you being an athlete.
All right.
So
would you rather compete in a super
triathlon
I want the other one.
or cross game?
CrossFit games.
Sorry.
CrossFit. And they're both fucking tough.
Wait, have you seen the CrossFit games? Not just
like
No,
you go to a fucking what do they call it?
Like on like those actual world tournaments on ESPN.
Yeah.
Yes. They both suck, CB. I can't do these like that. All I'm saying is like if you're like, hey man, I'm gonna need you to go swim 50 miles. I'm like, yo man, I can't do that. Like CrossFit, I can maybe do like a couple deadlifts. You know what I mean? I can do some of it. My team would just lose. But if you ask me to go do any type of
the super triathlon, you got to run and then bike and then swim. You can bike.
I can fucking lift weights a lot better than I can bike.
Yeah, but they lift weights. I mean, like.
I know that, but they're for a CrossFit game, even though their weights definitely not small.
And if you
it's more about endurance.
You're saying you seen the motherfucking you got these like pull-up thing where like this, and you gotta fuck.
Yeah, you gotta get the whole fucking stick up there.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I can shred for a while.
I get it, but
Take a weight.
Once again, you're also then asking me to go bike how long and run how far.
Yeah.
Unobtainable. I don't have the stamina. I'm not built for it.
But then
that run.
Or
if
if your question,
if
your question was, Clay, if you had the potential of physically doing these, which one would you rather do? It would be the
CrossFit.
No, the other one.
Oh, really?
Whatever triathlon.
Super triathlon.
Super triathlon. Yeah, I would much rather be some.
You're like, I don't care if it's super or regular.
Yeah,
I'm not doing either one.
Yeah. And the only reason I say that is I feel like that is more niche than CrossFit at this point. And not to take away anything from either of them, but I feel like you can. I don't know, man. I just think doing one of those super triathlons, those take a whole day. Like that's another beast.
Yeah.
To mentally keep yourself focused for hours on end. You know what I mean? And once again, CrossFit, the people who compete at a world level, that shit's bonkers to me. They bust ass 0 to 100 for still long periods of time. But I just think for me personally, it would be cooler to say I started here, point A, geographically, and I ended here, point B.
Certainly.
Or to say I went here and back, and this is how I traversed the land. That to me is just more interesting.
I had a friend. I ran one fucking 5K, and he hits me up and he's like, "Hey, so I'm thinking you, me, and then one of our other friends and this other guy I didn't know. There's this race down in Indiana where it's like teams, and then I go, yeah, dude, I'm interested." It was like a race that lasted 24 fucking hours, man. And but you got to do it in shifts or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, I ran a 5K, 3.12 or whatever the fuck miles. Now, let me tell you something. I saw fucking things, man. At the end of that fucking thing, I was just like, I think I pushed an old lady down to get to my orange slice. Like, it got real about the Gatorade. I was just like, get the fuck out of my way. I hit that fucking finish line. I'm like, oh. And it was back. Oh, man. It was something, man. Like, I was just like, you want me to jump on this motherfucking endurance run? I'm going to need to train a little bit more longer for this one. I got one more, I think. I think it's just one more. All right. Yeah. Fight Mike Tyson in his prime.
What the fuck, the other one? Get hit by a car, kill you. I mean, what is it?
Conor McGregor.
Oh, Conor McGregor. I would much rather fight Conor McGregor, who's still a beast, than fucking Mike Tyson.
Really? Because at
least you know he's going to get hit by Mike Tyson.
Conor McGregor got an arsenal of fucking weapons.
No, man, I'm going to make sure that ref calls that. That ref's going to call that shit.
Ding, he's already tapping.
Conor's going to fucking come out like he did with Cowboy. He's going to shoulder me in the nose. I'm going down on the first hit. And I'm going to not defend myself. I'm just going to put my arms out here like this. And take a couple hammer fists right to the face.
You could just go to the mic and be like this, go ding, ding, and you guys
touch gloves. Just go down. That's true. If I had to take,
you had to fight them.
If I had to take one shot.
No, you have to fight them. Not.
No. You're assuming that I'm fighting.
No, you have to fight them.
So let's just say, CB, I had to fight either of them. Does the fight go longer than 3 seconds? If I had to fight them, I would still get knocked out in 5 seconds. So what does it? Your question is irrelevant because I wouldn't last.
Really?
I don't think you would last longer than 5 seconds in the ring with Mike Tyson in his prime.
I'm quick, so I would have.
You ain't Mike Tyson shit.
I'm quick enough to fucking run.
I'm done. I'm thinking you're not fighting.
I know, right? run away. Kid.
So, anyway, if you had to fight both of them,
I mean, and this is the only reason why. It's not because yes, I am scared to get hit by Mike Tyson. I know, at prime or fucking 52-year-old Mike Tyson. They both would suck, but I would rather go against Conor only because the fact size. Mike Tyson was 200 and was it you that I sent that message to? He was like 225 or 220 something like that, but he's 5'10 and he was nothing but muscle.
Right.
Conor McGregor yoked the fuck out. You see that picture I said? Still yoked the fuck out. And he's like a $160, $170.
The downfall would be getting kicked in the face by Conor McGregor, though. That would suck.
Yeah, well,
at least with Mike, we know we're getting punches. Conor could fucking do some crazy shit. What if he shoots at us? What if he just purposely takes it to ground and pound and then just submits us? I would just tap. I would tap. I would immediately give my back and just hope that he would just choke me out. Or just try and tackle him and let him guillotine me.
As soon as he put an arm even close to my chin,
yep,
I'm done. Choke it out. I can't breathe.
If you have to fight, I guess, like, if there was no cheap way out, you almost want to say Mike Tyson. Take a busted kidney or a destroyed face. You just go down on the first knockout and just let him count to 10. Because in UFC,
I chose a UFC fighter because of the fact that I was just like, there's a multitude of ways to get fucking beat up by them. Where with Mike Tyson, you don't have to worry about speed.
Right.
Well, I mean,
he's quick.
But I mean,
he's pretty. I mean, think about it. Like, the way he boxes is very straight line.
Yeah. You know, there wasn't like, I'm gonna wham.
He was good at getting around guys, though, like getting on their sides and hitting them in the like.
It was like a weird.
I mean, you had about this degree.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a weird little angle because of the fact that like he stayed so small. And it was real quick and small. And he stayed really in his pocket, but it just kind of I don't know.
Either of those would suck.
You knew he was going to.
If he hits
If you
you,
would
it's
have
gonna
said
hurt.
something like
Get hit by a
John Jones, you know what I mean, like a heavyweight, or he's a light heavyweight, but
I thought about that, but I was just
like Brock Lesnar.
first of all, a flyweight would whoop my ass. I don't care how big you are. I could be twice as big as you. You're still going to probably whoop my ass. I have no faith that I could beat anybody in a professional sport. She would whoop my ass. I'd let her.
Well, she definitely make that, as we were talking about before here. She's not a striker.
Hopefully she lets me tap.
She's pregnant, and married, and shit.
I'd be nice to her.
And I think her husband's an MMA fighter, so. So Clay's head's gonna be on swivel at the first UFC event that we go to as a team.
At least I have the balls to fight.
I can't. It's a street fight, sir. That's really all I had for some,
So, in my segment, I kind of steal the segment off of what Colin Coward did.
And I thought about that, but the guy just started coming up with random shit. So, how much time have we been?
Tell you what, I'll do one-word responses for you real quick. Did you see that segment at all? They showed a logo, and they said the first thing that they thought of when they saw the logo.
You and I kind of went on that when we saw. I thought that was from you and me conversation when you sent that picture of the Prez.
Yeah, same thing.
I know, but I mean, I didn't realize that was on the show. I just thought that was because you and I just.
No, that Brez thing I sent was completely separate from what Colin Coward did. This just happened to be under the same.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the one word thing though. Because you and I just went back work after that. You know.
So this was like, here's an image. What's the first thing you think of? Boom, cool. Next picture. Here's a picture. What's the first thing you think of? Boom, cool.
Oh,
next picture.
Okay. Because you and I just went back like.
That was just spontaneous. That was purely.
I thought that's what you were trying to talk about when you were like one word thing.
No. So I don't know how I'm going to do this because this is visual. I should have planned this out. But I will pull up Google Images and I will just go ahead and start winging some stuff.
Well, while you're doing that, man, Dak Prescott got offered a bunch of fucking money.
Yes.
What was that, 145?
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was a lot of money.
If you were the organization, that's something you would think is a wise investment?
For
Dak Prescott. 175. 5-year deal.
I kind of think the Cowboys had to. I don't really think they had a choice. They're in a weird position where they have arguably a top 5 quarterback right now as far as potential and moving forward, with age, because Aaron Rodgers, he's not a long-term QB. He doesn't do anything for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? I'm talking about these guys, the ones that are you're no longer Ryan Fitzpatrick. You're no longer an option for us.
Right.
We're Cowboys. We're here to win. I don't want an old veteran, and we're drafting somebody young. We're gonna hope they're a superstar, and that's what I just feel like that's Cowboys.
Yeah.
I don't know any different. When they had Romo, they started Romo when he was younger with the league. Well, not young, but and they carried him through. Now they have Dak. I think they're gonna carry Dak through. I don't see them signing Phillip Rivers for 1 year. That just doesn't seem like a Cowboy move.
It doesn't
So-
seem like. I mean, it's not even a smart.
I don't think so
really.
either. So my point being is the Cowboys have enough younger talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think signing Dak was probably the right move to do. I think it looks bad that they took so long to sign people like Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. It just makes them look weak, in my opinion. to have all these players and have all this controversy of like, oh, they don't want to pay him, they don't want to pay him, they don't want to pay him.
Right.
He's sitting out, they still won't pay him. They finally come to an agreement. Are you going to sign Dak? Oh, we'll franchise tag him. Are you going to pay him? Are you going to pay? Okay, we'll pay him. It's just like, know what the fuck you want to do.
I'm glad you brought up franchise tag because that's actually my little personal note here.
What's your opinion on the
franchise tag?
Like in general?
Let's start with general. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not against the franchise tag. The whole point of that is to say we're not sure if we want to re-sign a player yet. We're not sure what terms we want to agree upon, so we're going to franchise tag that player. There's different versions. There's restricted. There's unrestricted. I mean, like, to not get into all of that, essentially what that team is saying is we have serious interest in you, but right now isn't the time to sign that long-term contract. So what we'll do is we'll put a tag on you. Next year, like you'll play for us this year. Next year, when we go to negotiate, you're going to end up averaging at least what the top 5 people in your position are making. I don't see anything wrong with that. If they're still already in contract with the team, they're just not ready to renegotiate or restructure, then all they're saying is like, we're not allowing you to talk to other teams. They're making them exclusive and giving that team or the Cowboys in this situation the opportunity to have first crack at it.
Are you a this is me asking your fandom. Are you a front office fan or a player fan? Because a lot of times on this podcast, and we both do it, you know what I mean? Like, to fit our argument.
Right.
This is when I was thinking about this, I was just like, man, I'm like, this is a double-edged sword because the fact that a lot of times when we discuss things, you and I very vividly are about, the business aspect of it. But then we also want to, we play both, we dance both sides.
Yeah.
And I guess like in a situation like this, what do you think? I mean, what are you? Are you more of the player fan or the?
I think I would probably be front office.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is as much as I enjoy sports, at the end of the day, regardless of what anybody thinks, this is still a business. I can't wrap my head around the idea that this league is because of the players. Like, the NFL will never go away. They'll find a way to keep the clock ticking. Like, they'll bring in XFL people. They'll find replay. Sports have done it in the past. Like, they'll find people to play sports, play football.
Well, remember,
I don't think it'll come to that, but...
What was it, 80-something, there was a strike. And they had players come in and cross the picket line.
Yeah, so, I mean, regardless, you can still be a player guy, but still have to understand the business side of things. At the end of the day, the business side of things dictate how this league operates. It can be influenced by players,
right,
such as what the MLB Players Association is doing with the owners right now. Yo, we're not going to play for that.
Yeah.
And they're making it a player push. Like they're really making this season, it revolves around the players as of right now. That's the direction they're going in. And I'm not saying I'm against that. I mean, in this situation, though, you and I, back to baseball, not to flip-flop, but we both still come to an understanding that if you're not playing, we can't pay you that. Like,
so, don't you think that the NFL could be the same if they were just to get rid of the franchise tag? Because no other teams, no other sports do franchise tags.
Yeah, I'm not saying
and
that.
I feel like that. I don't mean to cut you off there, but and I don't feel that players going into a rookie after the rookie contracts and they outplay those rookie contracts because it happens. It just doesn't happen just at the NFL. It happens in MLB. It happens in the NBA. Happens fucking in the NHL. I don't know enough about that one to speak on, but I know that it probably does, right? So if it happens in all these other sports where guys do it, but they don't get franchise tag, they're like, yo, you have to stay with us and you can't talk to anybody. You're our bitch. And the NFL is just like, no, we're going to make it so you really can't do anything. And I feel like when you sit there and try to tell people they can't do things, that puts you into the rip of an Ezekiel Elliott going down to Cabo and fucking run on the beaches down there until they're like, yeah, we're going to pay you.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of, I think I misspoke a little bit. So the way the franchise tag worked is when you franchise tag a player, it essentially puts kind of like a 1-year contract on the player with that team. but it actually guarantees them the year of their tag, an average of the top 5 highest paid players in that position. So you get that paid in your franchise tagged year, not the next year. I was mistakenly thinking that your next contract had to at least be the average or higher, which maybe could be. I didn't know that the positive for the players who are tagged is that the 1-year deals are guaranteed and the salaries represent the average of the top 5 highest paid players at their positions, if not more. The player's guaranteed salary for that one season is attractive, but such a tag provides the player no long-term security. So I didn't realize they got it right then and there. So still at the end of the day, as far as if you're asking me if I like it, I'm not opposed to it, even though it seems to have been creating rifts in the pool recently with a lot of players, Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon, like these guys who are holding out because they're not going to play under those conditions.
Dak Prescott was getting ready to be holding out if he, you know what I mean?
So, but then you ask me, is it necessary? And no. The answer to that is no. If the NFL got rid of the franchise tag, they would just keep carrying it. All that would happen is they would be forced to have to come out and offer something sooner than buying themselves another year. Because the player's getting paid more for that season, but they make a good point. When you're franchise tagged in that 1 year, what if you get hurt? What if you pull a Alex Smith in your franchise tag year? Now you have no long-term money to negotiate? Like, that would suck.
But if you got Alex Smith, then you're not negotiating long-term money anyway.
My point being is, like, let's say Alex
that 1 year, I mean, from what you just said there, that year, you were going to be on the team anyways.
Not if there's no franchise tag. Alex Smith could have talked to anybody. Now, he signed with the Redskins, so that's a bad example. My point being is let's say 2019 was your last season. You just finished your 4-year contract with the Lions. And 2020, you were going to be an unrestricted free agent. You could talk to whatever team you wanted. If the Lions franchise tag you, you cannot talk to anybody now. In the 2020 season, you're going to get paid for 1 year at an average of the top 5 players at your position.
Got it. Yeah.
Now let's say you get hurt. No, that just sucks. Because now teams are going to be like, ooh, great first 4 years, but yeah, he got hurt last year. Like, we're not going to negotiate high money. Now, what could have happened is, had you not been franchise tagged, or if it wasn't a rule, you would have been talking to a whole bunch of teams, and you would have signed a 5-year, $135 million contract. Now you get hurt. Well, now you still had a signing bonus. You still had some guaranteed money from your 5-year, so you have cushion. You can get better, you can rehab, and you still have job security. So that's where the franchise tag comes into play, is these players are getting tagged. They're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to set myself up long-term success for me and my family, and because you're not ready to pay me, you're just going to tag me for a year and make me wait before I can negotiate my future? That's where the negativity from the tag comes from. So from a player's side, the tag sucks.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it can suck.
I can't tell you a time that it really, has really benefited.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that I get my money, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not a fan of it. I think that business could be done. I think both sides is more beneficial for both sides if you don't have that fucking franchise tag. Because
if you come to an agreement, or even if you don't,
because you brought up the fact of the Alex Smith thing, right? Let's say you get injured right away, but then you're guaranteed. I'm still on the fucking hook to pay you money.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? For services not rendered.
Yeah. Well, but there's always things on contracts that are dotted lines. Like if you're injured, you can make a smaller percentage. But there's obviously that you and I know that when you sign a long-term contract, there's guaranteed, and then there's non-guaranteed. Right. The non-guaranteed, a lot of that's going to come from playing. So, yeah, there's teams out there who do get screwed over. You sign like an RG3. Granted, RG3 got hurt on his rookie contract, but once again, an example, electric. Let's say he leaves Washington, goes sign somewhere long-term, boom, knee injury. It's going to suck for the organization. If they signed him for 5 years, they know they're missing him for that year, and potentially the following season, and he is still going to get paid some money.
Right.
But then at that point, once you're a couple years in, you can restructure. Usually you have 4th or 5th year options. You know what I mean? And so there's a little bit more to it. You know, and like you said, I mean, franchise tag player gets screwed. Long-term contract with something goes wrong, even if it's not injury. What if they just don't show up? Team gets screwed. But,
I wish I could remember what player it was that actually went into contract negotiations.
Oh, tons, dude.
That was sat there and like he did his own negotiations. I wish I could remember it. Like it was fucking amazing, right? And basically he set up his whole contract on performance-based payment. And they're just like, don't you think that's, like you could have actually just asked for more money? And he goes, but if I perform, I make more money doing it my way. And I mean, he was a performer too. Like he actually was able to, earn that money that, everybody was like, "Ooh, I don't know if you should have done that." But yeah, I know that you were trying to go into a different segment, but
No.
Dak Prescott, that's a lot of money, 175 mil, and the franchise tag that kind of bothered me this week because of the fact that I was just like, there's a lot of double-edged swords this week, guys, and this one's definitely one of them because as a player, not good. As an organization, I still don't think it's good. Especially with the fact that, but I mean, it is better than what it could have been.
From an organization standpoint, something like a franchise tag is excellent for buying time, but it's piss poor for team morale.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting ready to get to.
Now, if it's a situation where, let's say, a team goes, Dak, you are our quarterback. I'm telling you right now, we are going to sign you long term. But because of X, Y, and Z and the way the salary cap, like if there's rule, and they're like, we're telling you right now, you have our word, man to man, you got to just trust us. We're going to tag you this year to get you paid, but understand because we're still paying off so-and-so's contract or this trade is going to hit us hard, we will have room next year to negotiate high numbers. I mean, now that's between a player and an organization.
But then it's like, where's my guarantee?
And my gut is telling me that probably doesn't happen often.
Right.
But I'm saying if you had somebody like, 10, like Drew Brees and the Saints, I got a feeling that if the Saints came to Drew and said, hey, look, man, we're going to do right by you, but because of X, Y, and Z, we have to do it this way. Just trust us. I think there would.
That's a tough one to use because of the fact that, like, Drew Brees is already richer than Richie.
Yeah,
so he's not doing it for the money.
The reason I said that is when you think New Orleans, you think Drew Brees. Like Drew's not leaving. I think he would retire before he goes somewhere else and plays. He's going to retire a Saint. So like all I'm saying is that's a relationship that I'm trying to use as an example for trust. I think Drew Brees has a certain amount of trust with the Saints owner, with Sean Payton and that organization.
Right.
I think they could talk to each other face to face, and then you look at a team like New England, where like Kraft loves Brady, but Belichick was never really, there. Like I couldn't trust Bill Belichick if I were Tom Brady to make sure that I got paid, which it's not his decision.
That little trifecta of people there was the fact that we're going to find out. But as far as like if it's player or coach or a program, but I think that Coach Belichick always felt a little slighted in the fact that it wasn't like just belief that was his program, his planning, his and which is crazy to not think that it wasn't his program because I mean there's been 3 times that he's had to use fill-in quarterbacks and they won. Castle,
not Super Bowls.
Garoppolo,
not Super Bowls.
They contended until Tom Brady came back.
I mean, yeah, sure, contended. But, I mean, it's one season.
1 season, 3 seasons.
I'm saying one quarterback to step in, like Matt Castle did that 1 year. I think they went, 10-6 or 11-5?
Oh, yeah.
And then look at Matt Castle, every team he played for after that.
Right, but I mean,
Unless your point was Belichick's system is what made Hugh.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yeah, because their long-term careers. Granted, Garoppolo's been to San Fran, and I guess he's successful right now. Matt Castle, he was hot and cold. I mean, played for the Chiefs. Then That's who he also played for. Chiefs, and nonetheless.
I was going to say, after he went to the Chiefs, I lost him.
Yeah.
Because he was hot garbage.
Didn't he go to the Vikings at one point?
No, trash. It's a fucking Vikings. Fuck them. They suck. Until they had Kirk Cousins. Now they actually somebody. Took a Spartan to come there and be something. I tell you what, man. Like I want to do your one word thing, but I'm gonna say let's save it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm done. I'll put something better together. That was on the whim, and I didn't have anything prepared.
Yeah, I thought that it'd probably be a better. I know you, and I know that it will be better when you got a week. Guys, gals, thank you.
Thanks for dealing with our
audio
and video.
I tell you what, like if you don't like the sound of the pod this week,
like and share on social media.
Watch the YouTube video. That sound will be the same sound quality that we have every week. It should. So should.
My Skype audio is coming through a mic that's not by my face, so.
Yeah, this would be weird. I don't know.
Boy, that would suck if those picked up on each other. Worst case, there's no video this week.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hey, we appreciate you. We're out. Peace.
Take care.
For those of you guys tuning in this week, you may hear some audio differences in quality. CB and I did have to overcome some troubles. So bear with us. Enjoy this episode this week. We're about to bring it. If you can manage to find a way of snip out that 15 seconds and put it at the beginning of our podcast. Yeah, because then that little segment of me saying, hey, this is going to sound different, stick with us.
Yeah.
Or you can just say, fuck it, not worry about it. I don't care.
So, did you look into the Call Me Daddy podcast conversation that went down this week?
I mean, I get the gist of it. Some dude wanted to, have their pod with him.
He wanted to take him to HBO, it sounded like, but...
I didn't research details. I caught what I could on social media and left it at that.
It's like they made $500,000 under their old contract. They were like, "Yo, that's not enough." And so no, I got into it though, and Dave Portnoy, because they actually Call Me Daddy or some shit, and he offered because intellectual property, right? It's been a big fucking thing, and that's been something like us, no matter what, at the end of the day, whatever happens to you and me, we get picked up by anybody or anything, we deal with anybody, we own whatever it is, we own Proficient fans, we own all the all the podcast episodes, any episodes we do under any umbrella, ours, that's something like
right. So that way you wouldn't get fired, and then
if let's say that let's say that you and I, because we were talking about Arsenal, we'll say ESPN brings we love Proficient. We want to put the logo on there, using you guys really amp up your thing. And we're like, all right, cool. We sign it. But then we don't make sure that within the contract that we own Proficient fans. Right. And then you and I are we finish up our contract, and they're like, oh, we don't want to go with you anymore.
No, I get it, yeah.
We can't use Proficient fans anymore.
Right.
So, that's stupid. That's ours, right? So, I mean, that's one of the big things. He basically is just Dave Portnoy was just I tell you what I'll do. They had a 3-year contract, and they didn't own the intellectual property. They didn't own Call Me Daddy.
Right.
Or, any of the Daddy Gang, whatever the fuck they fucking call that shit. And he goes, they still had another year and a half. He goes, I tell you what, your contracts were $70,000. Their contracts were paying you $70,000. Now they made $500,000 with that $70,000 plus the merch and the booze that they sold and all that shit. He goes, I'll pay you $500,000. And at the end of 18 months, the IP is yours. You have the intellectual property, and I stay with 80% of the booze, right? So like, and there's some other little rounded numbers in there and stuff like that, right? And
super awesome deal.
a crazy great deal, right? So, but they turned it down originally. And Alice, the blonde-headed girl, I don't know if you saw pictures of these chicks. The blonde-headed girl actually ended up coming back and finally accepting that offer. And so, but she also got a raise like a while back ago because she was the one that did like all the editing and all that shit. And I don't know, it was just a big fucking like, how the fuck could you let this shit go so far fucking left?
Do you want me to delete the tiny sound clip I posted earlier since this sound clip encompasses part 1 and part 2?
If it encompasses everything, yeah, you have to get rid of the old one.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like, it was just nuts that he was willing to give out that kind of dough for that shit.
That dude's smart, man. I'm sure he annoys a lot of people, but that dude's smart as shit.
He's smart. It just sucks that he's a fucking Republican.
Yeah.
Not even a Republican. Just sucks that he was for Trump. But yeah, it was just, I mean, I don't know. Like, I was mad intrigued by that shit because I was just like, how the fuck does this work? But which made me think, how could I sell Proficient fans to him, right? And I'm still trying to figure out everything, but basically, yo, you don't pay us a salary. I think that if we actually had that little fucking Barstool emblem in our fucking corner, and then with like any kind of advertising that we had to do or anything like that, that would increase and make it more valuable.
Yeah.
You know?
See, maybe I'm just pessimistic. I don't ever see us getting into something like a Barstool.
Not Barstool, but
Yeah,
I'm saying,
it's like,
but I mean, like, you gotta look at like how you sell yourself to somebody,
right.
and but not lock ourselves into something.
We're too specialized with the schools that we like. We'd have to do something like Big Ten. If we could specialize in the Big Ten,
Yeah.
I think we can maybe sell ourselves to something.
But we gotta get the Big Ten to like, realize, we gotta be able to speak.
The thing is
freely.
we can't be biased. We're too biased. We would have to go to Michigan State University and be like, you guys need an athletic podcast, which they already have. So then we have to prove why we're the best.
Right. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, no,
it's like, I'm talking about going through. I'm just.
I mean, that's why when they said submit your shit, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fans, they like it, cool. If they don't, we'll go fuck ourselves.
Whatever.
We just sent them episode 84. That shit was lit.
All right.
Here, listen to this. If you like this, then go listen to the rest of our shit.
80 another fucking episode. Not 85. Sound always awful.
85 episodes, y'all ain't got your shit down?
But no, I mean, like, but no, that's what was kind of. I mean, like, it's not even about like who it is, who it was with. It was more of the. It was more of the. Hold on, hang on.